side for on a CT side for Vitality, will that be enough? Is my question up against a very tough opponent in Heroic. What do you think, Semler?
I think that Vitality have actually managed to fight back the last 2 rounds. I was convinced that this was going to be a 9-6 finish for Heroic, and yet here we have it. Vitality doing the best they could. And even with Kyojin, I mean, if Kyojin wakes up even a little bit here, life is going to get really interesting for Heroic. So I think it bodes well. We've got a good match, a good start to this series on our hands here. And I know that you're hoping for that because you obviously bet on Vitality.
Absolutely. Well, in they go. Space created. Shush, though, will slam these boys down to the floor. In trouble now as he runs out of bullets, and suddenly there's a man advantage for Vitality. We see Cadian creeping through the smoke. Now in a 1 versus 3. Stop the bomb plant. He's got a chance now, especially when that smoke is up, to try and isolate a fight. See Shox running past the angle. He goes around the corner now. Got himself a 1 versus 2, but he's low on the bullets there. 4 bullets. Takes one in the face. Still alive. Shox on a reload, and down he goes.
I love Cadian so much. What a play. That was so sick. Freaking reads it, takes that shot, and he knows the guy's going to peek from sight. If he had hit that headshot, James, that would have been such a baller retake. All right, well, we had to settle with Vitality winning. Fine, fair enough. You guys won. But that would have been such a god-tier play, dude. He was in their heads so hard there.
Vitality have won both pistols now. Of course, they got reset in the first half. We'll see if the same happens in the second. There is a force bar here from Heroic. Cadian has left AWP money in the hole, but apart from that, it is a full investment from the Danish side. Shox down secret in record time. Cadian, the angle he's holding, finally enough, I first saw Shox doing. Just holding a pixel angle with a smoke in your hands. So we'll see if Shox has a response to it, if he goes further. But for now, things will slow down. Maybe allowing Heroic to wonder as Shox jumping past the angle. Cadian holding on to it for now. Just getting that, squeezing out that extra second or two from that smoke.
It's funny that it's Shoxy as well that sees him doing that. So he's like, haha, I know what you're doing. Fair enough, we'll get that smoke out of the way. But 3 ready to push into lobby here. This is big for Heroic. First one there, spacing. Very nicely done by Refresh. Nice trade. That is the lurk out of the picture. Kyojin dead, but he manages to get a kill. Effectively, he has tripled his scoreline. James, he's
Boom.
3.
Quick maths.
Super solid.
Don't need an abacus for that one.
Just one hand. Success.
35 seconds for Vitality to collapse on a bomb site. They have the high ground towards Zane. We can see Heroic are closing in on each other. So there will be a fight. That is quite the smoke grenade, and Vitality now has to put the smoke and try and plant the bomb. An empty force by Shox has just jumped to his doom, and that is a really rough way to lose a round. That looks horrible.
That looked so brutal. Cadian with the body shots, just dropping them. Shoxy, I admire it. He managed to get out, but
you know, in that smoke land, they're going to be thinking, "Phew."
Exactly. That's pretty much exactly what's going through their mind at that point. You're just so screwed.
I'm not sure what they were waiting for.
The element of surprise.
That's disastrous. They've been reset in both pistols. I feel like they made it kind of easy in that one. That smoke was a GG, man.
You know what? We still need Alan to go ahead and check and see for us the statistics. Total statistics for the tournament. I expect to see that in between matches here, Alan. But Vitality, at the beginning of this tournament, it was a 40% conversion rate after winning the pistol, just losing. So I'm curious to see if this holds true. If it's still 40% or if that number has gone up or down.
I really wonder about that.
It's freaking nuts.
I want to know what the guys on the desk have to say.
That's a crazy
stat. Girls
stat.
and the guys on the desk.
It's a crazy stat. Because then, like, what good are pistols?
I mean, just what we saw, like, just there. I kind of want to watch that round again. Because I don't think I've ever seen that. I've never seen basically the whole team in heaven running their own clock down, only to be smoked off and have to run into the bomb site from heaven through a smoke and then just die, including a crater from Shox as well. Oh, that one's got to be... That's got to just put you off your game a little bit, I feel like.
Yeah, but you know what else is going to put you off your game? Shoxy doming you with a 1-dig.
Oh, so you want to say diarrhea or something like that.
Well, he got the body shot. He got the body shot. It was close. So Shoes definitely not getting put off his game. Shoes. 10-8. 10-8, and Heroic looking really stable here on the CT side. And now, well, it's Vitality, like you said, they went for the force buy that round. They don't get a bomb plant. This is going to have to be a hard eco here from Vitality. Nothing but Glocks, I expect.
I'm disappointed.
You are.
In that second round, I picked them. So did Launders. It was weird. I think it's the second game where we've both picked, like, the other team should win.
Sure.
But I'm going to pick this team.
Okay.
And I think it's a stylistic thing. I don't know. I feel like in Vitality's recent performance, it looked to me as though they felt strong in what they were doing. Oh, Jesus, Zaiwu. Okay. He swarmed, and that is to... I could see him, like, heating up there. But again, they felt strong in their last game, and that was part of why I picked them to win here. I feel like sometimes they'll win, and maybe this is one of those times. And maybe it still is, but they need to recover from that round because, again, I just don't know how you play to the best of your ability when you lose a round like that. It's just so ridiculous. But anyway, here they are. They've got a 5 AK-47s now, Vitality. There's an AWP for Cadian. Cadian 11-11. Zaiwu by the fire extinguisher.
Freaking FPX. Losing to Vitality. Enough on that. FPX actually playing against Complexity, if you are a fan of either of those teams. That is going on live right now on the B stream. Oh,
interesting.
What is going on here? Cadian's freaking out. They're all around him, and he knows there's a second man right in front. Can he find him? Shoxy in the smoke, getting clever. Very nicely done by Shoxy. That is a fantastic way to cut him off.
Oh my God, awkward. Tries to escape the angle and just jumps into a wall, but the cavalry is on the way, it seems. Oh, Cadian. That one was a sit-up.
Yeah, but Refresh hears the footsteps of his teammates, so Refresh is going to be in position to wreck him.
God, this is very back and forth indeed, but Vitality have positioned on the A-bomb site now. They've got high ground advantage.
Oh, Refresh was downstairs. He just heard the footsteps.
Well then, Heroic. This is, I don't know that they go for this.
No, this is a, unless they can get a kill immediately here, this is pretty much done and dusted. So Vitality in the first buy round, they managed to come up with the goods. And that was also from some very quick thinking on Shoxy's part, trading places in the smoke immediately like that. He dodges Cadian, he doesn't get killed. He actually gets a kill out of that. I mean, what a play from Shoxy. Just staying alive, did so much, gave his team so much to work with. It's the resources that Heroic had to divert to actually just eventually get the kill on him, opened up the rest of the bomb site. So Vitality manages to, at least in their first buy round, turn it around here. 9-11, putting the pressure back on the Danes. Heroic with the money, though, they're going to be able to full buy, no problem at all.
Question now is if Vitality can string that second round together and really have an impact on that Heroic economy, because that has to be the main target now, break the money. Their mind's broken in that second round and a half, but they could put it behind them now. They are having success once again. Kyojin still 4 for 12, looking to make a larger impact in this game. You see the squeaky's being blown off, nothing untoward there. Be an exchange of flames as there are T's closing in on this main position. Apex makes his way in now, traded by Shush on the high ground, and Cadian will put Heroic to the advantage. The trades continue in favor of Heroic now. Kyojin 1 versus 3, plenty of time for him. That grenade, though, is absolutely perfect. Puts himself towards blue. Beat a headshot from Cadian, because why not? 12-9 for Heroic.
How many times is Cadian going to get the drop on Kyojin like that? Every time he's just catching Kyojin looking the wrong way. That's going to get demoralizing for Kyojin eventually, as Kyojin has only got 5 kills on this map so far. To be fair, Stavin on the other side has only got 8. So, I mean, it is a bit of a trade situation where it kind of balances out on both sides. The only thing is that Heroic are the ones who are in the head who are ahead right now, and in their heads as well, maybe 12-9. And Heroic stabilizing after they needed that money nade outside. Zaiwu and Shoxy getting pummeled. This sets up for Stavin to mow him down. He's going to get another kill. Zaiwu hanging on by a thread.
On the way down he goes. Well, this is one's getting a little spicy now. Fast-moving round of nuke. So he's trying to show as much presence as possible It's very important smoke for Tesset to go through either side of it, and that will help them trade. It's another rifle plated now. Apex with the bomb. That's a key frag for Heroic. Down towards Squeaky. Of the flashbang to swing at the same time.
They finally get ramp and the bomb is back in lobby? That's a disaster. What do you do if you're Vitality now?
Well, they have time, but it is going to be a long road back to that bomb. Apex last seen at Squeaky makes his way towards the lobby. Ooh, Zywoo moonwalking to his doom, which leaves Kyojin now with 40 seconds to convert this. I think the footstep was heard there.
One thing to be said is that Kyojin now doesn't have to worry about his teammates. Can't just focus on that nutty angle.
Ooh.
Too many angles, though.
Such an awkward spot there. Really well done.
Yeah. Very solid. That puts Heroic in control of the situation now. 13-9. Vitality without the money to buy. Again, we should get Deagles and Kevlar out of Vitality this round. Or at least a Deagle on Zywoo. I mean, Kyojin. Shoxy has a little bit of money. Maybe he's saving it so that he gets that ape. No, okay, there we go. They are going to invest a little bit in this round.
Well, the CT scoreboard is looking like standard Heroic stuff almost every round.
Oh, man.
Another chunky HE. You got to start paying attention to these HEs from Heroic because they're doing serious damage. Incendiary dropped on the ramp itself. Shush has got a multi-frag situation here. We'll see if he chooses to fall back. Cadian swing and a miss from him. You don't want to lose both these weapons, and this is becoming awkward now for Cadian. He has dropped the bomb, and he delivers both frags. Look at the confidence from the man as well. Got to be careful about this angle, however. Got a bit too deep there. And now Shox has an AWP 1 versus 2. Wouldn't put it past him. Just needs to be in the right place at the right time to some degree.
And he's got the bomb. So he's got control of that, doesn't need to worry. And Shoxy he is so wise.
Oh, but which way does Storm go? He's going around the back. Oh, man. Standard play from Shox goes as wide as possible, not to get flanked, but just around the box was enough for Storm there. And once more, it's a round 4 Heroic. 3 rounds either side of the one from Vitality. Katie's having a great time.
We got a tech timeout getting called, and apparently Apex's cam fell down. Could you fix it, please, is what the admin is asking. So I'm assuming that Apex smashed his desk at some point in that round.
Earthquake.
Earthquake happened.
See if there's a butterfly missing from the door now.
The frustration might be mounting, but it looks like we are ready to go. And countdown should begin again once we're good. Plenty of money to buy here for Vitality, though, so this is it. Backs to the wall, time to win. If you're Vitality, you have to get it done here. This is Heroic's map pick. It's worth mentioning. Overpass, Vitality's map pick, and Inferno, a third map decider if we need it. But a full buy for Vitality. Everything they need. Time for an upper rush. Let's just go. Set it up. Oh, Zywoo and Masuda, though. At least early, we're looking like they wanted to take a peek towards ramp. We will get the smoke thrown in by Tessus, though.
Oh, that connection. They know he's there.
How does he survive?
So that is the million-dollar question. How does he escape that position? You can see he's down by T-Red. Angles being held as well. Now, if a connection is made with this AWP, then I think they're going to stop focusing on Stown, but Shox has got the angles. It's a good start for Vitality. But again, it is about how you finish, and let's not forget that second. I can't get that second round out of my mind. And so it's one of only. Oh, never mind that. We've got an entry onto the ramp as well. Well, there is progress to be made here for Vitality, and it's getting expensive for Heroic, which is really important for the comeback. Vitality are only 5 rounds behind, and yes, these rounds have been very tough indeed. But if they could just take the money away, then they could potentially catch up very quickly, or run into a smoke heaven in heaven again. We shall see, but first they have to win this round. And again, based on the money situation, Heroic may opt for the save here so they can have a buy in the next round.
I think that would be the wise decision. If they can get out of here and save these guns, then you got a good buy going into the next one. If you lose any of these guns, though, if you're Heroic, it gets a little dicey. But those are some just beautiful shots coming in from Vitality. The lurk out in yard, easy peasy, but Masuda, that shot on ramp was not easy. And yet he just, smashed SS, so very nicely done there. And this is going to be tough for Cadian. It's going to be very hard for him to survive this now. Nice shot. Oh, he gets another one. This might be getting a little bit too expensive for Vitality. Yep, they're like, okay, you can hold on to the op, fine. Fair enough. So be it.
Well then, 1 round at a time for Vitality. They are 4 behind at the moment. Again, they have not been able to string around together. They win 1, Heroic win 3. That has been the run on this CT side for Heroic. And if that happens again, then the map is over.
What a shot, though, from Misuda. Small gap, and yet he just gets the headshot perfectly there. Well, full buy again here for both teams, so this is it. Again here, big opportunity. Vitality going to go ahead and challenge. They are putting themselves in position to pounce if any of these anti-rush nades get skipped by Heroic. Zaiwu always there, right at the beginning. So if these nades get skipped, there's a timing for them to exploit. But now as the smoke is affixing to clear, yep, we're going to get these peaks coming through. A little bit of a challenge. Misuda's thinking about it. 2 players here for Heroic, however. They see this coming.
Heading towards the minutes mark. I can see refresh towards Secret. A lot of Molotovs for Vitality. Lining up some grenades for the outside. But surely they don't head outside at this point. There'll be some presence shown though, but Refresh will easily avoid the flashbang. And Heroic may read an A play here. They still have 2 plays on the ramp, however. 44 seconds. It may feel like a lot of time left. You can see Shock's very close to main now. Not sure if he's got the sound cues of Refresh going downstairs.
He heard.
Yeah, definitely has now. Stown knows that he has issues, got 2 places to look, and it's going to be a ramp push at 28 seconds. Shush gets deleted. Tessa's here as well. That Molotov is really going to shut things down now for Vitality. A flashbang to change positions. Stown looking the wrong way, and there's an entry for Shocks. A chance for Vitality. 18 seconds to plant this bomb. Cadian blind on the side, and there's another man advantage for Vitality. Refresh popping out, looking for a transfer. Noble effort now. Tessa does what he can. Down to 10 seconds, and Vitality with a plan B after a failed attempt towards the ramp. Finish on the A bomb site with eliminations. That was a scary one.
What feels like a plan C, a plan D. It just feels like these guys, they get that death ball to work so that they get the kill here at ramp, and instead of committing through, if the incendiary isn't there, they go through ramp, I think, and it actually goes towards that lower site. But because the incendiary is there, they're like, cool, okay, just peel back towards the upper site, play off that flank from Shoxy, and it works out wonderfully for Vitality. So very quick thinking there from Vitality, but you expect that with leaders like Apex and Shoxy on the team. So much veteran experience there. Snap decisions should come easily to players of that caliber rather. And so Vitality, that was a must-win round, and they got the job done.
How about that? I like the pop flash that we saw. Some tagging being attempted as Heroic start to move back into safer positions. Oh, that's a nasty burst from Tesses. Maybe these frags are enough. 5 versus 3 for Vitality. 3 Deagles prevail, and they're being proactive. Looks like a lobby invasion from Heroic. Stown showing some presence in the meantime. Well, that's been eliminated, but which bomb site are you headed to? That was at the back of Stown, so he hasn't seen the bomb. Shock's showing presence, but that's just one of 3 players. And now rifles have been collected by Heroic, and this becomes a lot more difficult for Vitality. Kyojin makes his way in. We'll see if Apex throws the bomb and stays on the high ground. Looks like he will. Oh, he commits as well, in fact. That means that Heroic can make their way towards heaven. This is interesting. I thought he may have kept the high ground there and thrown the bomb over, but that's been conceded. There's no Molotov for them either. Shock's looking for a rotation from Secret. Spots 1, spot 2. It's good information play from Shocks. Not outstaying his welcome. Cadian still lurking with the AWP. There's a first entry into the site. Moving now is Refresh. Down he goes. Kyojin looking for all these targets, but just tapping everywhere and not quite finding what he wants. Heroic come from heaven, and there will be game points.
On an eco round, James. Or a semi-save.
They're just stronger.
Weird round. Deagles, AWP, Tessus with a triple kill holding down the ramp. What a play from him, making up for the past couple of rounds where he got bopped. This time around, he manages to get it done, and Vitality, you have such nice buy rounds, and yet here it doesn't actually come together for Vitality at all. So frustrating. What a frustrating outcome here for Vitality. And so they have to play perfectly from here on out. 4 rounds in a row. They need to force this to overtime. Otherwise, Heroic are going to take the first map. And
Yes.
okay, straight out to ramp. Feels like they think this is the weakness. This is the place to go. First shot coming in from Cadian.
He's got help from Tesses as well, so as they try to close in on Cadian, he will make himself known, and that is the crucial factor there. They've got a bomb as well, and all of a sudden, well, before I can even finish my sentence, the round is done. 16-11 for Heroic. They reset Vitality after Vitality win both pistol rounds, and then storm towards the end for a strong performance, as usual, on Nuke.
That's where Heroic have just got to feel like they're so in control of the situation, because they've been putting 2 guys towards ramp early for a few rounds now, except they are expecting, you know, the desperation ramp play to come in from Vitality. They knew it was happening. This time they're in position, they're ready, and they just utterly smashed Vitality. So Heroic with a very capable win on Nuke to kick off the series.
That's going to be it from us for now. When we're back, it will be the analyst desk led by the birthday overlord Freya. We'll see you in a few minutes.
Heroic take the lead with a map 1 win in this lower bracket semi-final. 16-11 on their home pick of Nuke. And a confidence showing, gentlemen, from the Danes to be starting this one off. Sure, it was their home pick, but getting it over the line convincingly when it mattered.
I think, yeah, I feel like I was a little bit disappointed in Vitality overall here. Heroic did a good job. I think the game could have been a bit closer. I wouldn't have been surprised if Vitality played a bit better and Heroic still won. So I will say they were definitely the better team. But there were a few rounds in particular that were kind of just like, oh, Vitality, what the hell?
Yeah.
And honestly, for me, Vitality, they made some changes on this map that I really liked, and it yielded some positive results. But I wonder whether or not part of the confusion in some of these rounds, the mistakes that we were seeing, whether or not it just comes down to, you know, still not being comfortable on this map for some of these players. And you know what? Obviously, the scoreline does lend to that. But individually speaking, I'm liking what I'm seeing out of some of the players on Vitality, Shox and Apex in particular,
Yeah.
up in big ways. And so they were able to bring this scoreline a little bit more respectable than I even expected on Nuke.
Yeah, so Zywood didn't have a bonkers game. He just played pretty well. And then, as Lex was mentioning, it was Shox and Apex felt like they were leading more by example. And Masuda's actually, you know, quite good in certain spots. But I think Kyojin, you know, barely, he got this one very nice round at the end with a 3K upper entry, but apart from that, there are a number of rounds, unfortunately, where I have to say that I think he was the reason that they lost them.
Yeah, we'll be getting into some of those rounds in just a second as well. But I'd like you to bring up the individuals because it was something that we were talking about in the pre-game segment, saying that we felt like we saw Apex, having some good game plans coming into some of these maps. It was just the question of the individuals not stepping up when they needed to most. Were you hoping for more out of some of the individuals' Vitality? Do you think that was where the holes were in terms of this nuke?
Well, they've had a few days to think about it, practice, restructure anything that they need to, and we saw Shocks move from ramp towards upper. Upper hold was suddenly solid. Ramp holds weren't a complete liability for the side of Vitality. So yeah, I think, ultimately, on the CT side of things, it wasn't a very sick half in terms of the round score, but it looked like there wasn't, these huge gaping chasms of holes in which they were failing to frag at all. At least when they were losing upper, they were still taking 2 or 3 kills.
They were still getting fisted, though.
I mean, they were still getting destroyed in terms of like the overall outcome of some of those rounds. But man, like it's still such a big difference compared to day one when we saw them basically just get blown out.
Yeah, we can take a look at one of those rounds in particular. Round number 9 is one of the rounds we highlighted because we saw Shocks actually getting some really good impact in terms of where he's changed up his position on this map.
Yeah, and so he had a few different, multi-frag rounds, but he just looks very, I think you had mentioned this to me, Freya, is that self-described this is his least favorite bomb site to play,
yeah.
But he shined on it. I mean, there was definitely some of these situations where Kyojin's already dead, man. He's on his lonesome. And okay, that's a common theme that we talk about here on the Analyst Desk about Kyojin and his particular struggles. But at least somebody up there is taking charge, at least having a setup in mind between the two players. And yeah, it was a little bit just one-sided in terms of Shocks having the 2 frags there, but it does bring this round into a very winnable situation for Vitality. And, obviously Heroic does take upper. They do get the bomb plant. But, the retake from Vitality is sound enough to where, this doesn't look like a complete disaster for them.
And that was a thing. Like, even if they had a successful upper hold, it wasn't because of Kyojin. If he was rotating Heaven, he was getting some damage in, but often not getting the kill.
And you were saying this switch up as well kind of favored Masuta and allowed him to get a little bit more impact in terms of this map as well.
There's some weird dynamic where I think Kyojin and Masuda used to play with each other, but for whatever reason, it doesn't feel like Masuda is taking leadership when they play together on sites. So like Lex pointed out with the switch up in the positions that they were playing, Masuda being a bit more free makes sense for him because before in that really tragic game versus Double Pony, they'd play upper together, but Lex, like Lex mentioned, they wouldn't crossfire. They would just basically take turns dying and also seemed more static than ever before. But Masuda with a bit more freedom and actually like moving around a lot more. It seems like he is much smarter when he's actually a bit more fluid and moving around.
And then moving over onto the second half, we did see Vitality have some issues, I think it's fair to say. We saw an anti-eco, which you guys have given a very apt title.
This was a circus.
The world's worst anti-eco.
Yeah.
That's what I described it as.
Well, it's round number 17, and we can bring it up for you to describe why this is the world's worst anti-eco.
Yeah.
And they won both pistols launchers.
They did,
Yeah.
and then they got ecoed twice. So this is a round where Kyojin dies holding the lobby, and we're at the crossing 20-second mark. And if you see a smoke from CT side going to Heaven at 20 seconds, you pretty much already know you lost. But this is just horrible. They basically knew that it was going to come down. They knew it was going to go down like that in their mind's eye, but they're like hoping somebody hit some crazy 1-bullet shot, and like they've those 3 CTs waiting for them to come through that.
Well, something that you mentioned was like, okay, arguably one of the most important roles on Nuke is just being the lobby defender, the guy who's got the responsibility to at least get information and know, okay, well, we just won pistol. We're going to face a force buy.
Yes.
And the most common move on Nuke ever, CT side, is, okay, when
Lobby
you're down on numbers, when don't have money, yeah, you fight for lobby control. And Kyojin faces it, bravely, of course, but gets traded out immediately. And so once you've lost lobby control, you don't have ramp, you don't have squeaky, you don't have hut, and you're all stuck outside, your options are go lower, essentially, into a meat grinder, potentially, or try and force your way through Heaven or in that case, Mini. But neither of those options looked good.
Yeah, and you can see it's just a number of situations where, again, RPK spots were not difficult. I think most of the time he played important spots, as most players' spots are just in general, but they weren't difficult. And that's a position where you almost know with the game that Kyojin's having and how he's been playing generally, he's going to get one or he's going to get none, he's going to die. But if he even just stays alive inside of lobby, they no longer have the freedom to make that move back and upstairs, focus all their attention that way. Killing Kyojin told them so much, and I think that was just one. That was cherry picking around, but obviously if you watch the game, there was a few of those rounds. And I hate to be hard on him, but he's got an important role. And again, it's not necessarily a hard role. He just has to be very reliable or in staying alive or just getting 1 or 2 kills, because most of the time his field of view is not very much. When he's anchoring spots, he's, if you're in mini, like if you're, in front of Squeaky, for example, you've got to watch Squeaky. You've got to support outside. You have to use way more grenades. You have to like turn around, and there's tons of times you can get killed from Squeaky if your teammate doesn't smoke hut. If you have to communicate a ton. But when you're upper, like Kyojin or RPK was in that position, you're sitting behind the silo, you're waiting for the upper exec to come, you try to dodge a couple of flashes from the demos you watch, you make sure not to stand in the spots that they nade, and if you're a good aimer, you should be set up to get, 2 or more kills. But he's still having trouble in just those spots even.
And I think maybe it's kind of the narrative that he came onto the team with, like you were highlighting in our pre-game segment, a sort of a pure firepower upgrade, because we've seen from some of his performances on previous teams that he is capable of that. So do you think there's anything particularly preventing him in terms of like, integrating into Vitality and showing what he really is made of? Or do you think maybe this is a kind of a cap for Kyojin?
I feel like either us on the analyst desk or him in his own head has almost talked himself into a box, mentally speaking. Like he just seems like he's so unwilling to make mistakes at times that it's preventing him from even being able to play a simple game of Counter-Strike and just enjoy where he's at. You know what I mean? Like you can't just relax if you're, totally in your own head about what situation you're trying to play. And he's like working these angles that just, guys, you know what? Kyojin has the aim. I absolutely have faith that he can do it. And I hate that we're sitting up here kind of nitpicking, but it is very apparent in game when you see him just almost timid in these fights that he's taking.
I genuinely believe it's just nervousness. Yeah. And I think Masuda had the exact same path.
Yes.
So for better or worse, at least they can maybe see that on the other side of it. You can get a great player from and really start low. So hopefully they do just give him time to get comfortable. But as long as he's doing the due diligence of like watching a lot of demos, I think nervousness, for example, comes from a different place for different people.
Right.
So I think it's actually really important to pay attention to your nervousness, because it can make you a better player, right? Like, for example, you might be nervous for good reason, because you actually haven't prepared a lot, or because you don't have the experience in the spots. So overcompensating by watching a lot of demos, like being very prepared for everything that can happen, can take the edge off. Or practicing all of the nades that you have to throw, or just scrimming more, practicing the map, spending more time on it. And I don't know what he's doing, right? I don't know if he's doing that a lot or not, or if he's just going to be more nervous than others. But again, I don't want to read too much into it, but he clearly, to me, is still nervous.
Yeah, and I'd like to bring up the point, Lex, that we can't look at one single player in terms of the loss for the side of Vitality, but there was a round which kind of exemplified a lot of literal mistakes of Vitality, really snowballing in round 26, I believe it was. And this is where we kind of saw things unraveling, I guess, for Vitality, for Heroic to push it over the line. Yeah,
this was a very strange series of decisions for Vitality. They have a player in heaven, they plant for behind silo, player in heaven drops out. Look at all 3 terrorist players here. There is a beautiful information play here from Shox. He even gets a frag out of it. But the bomb is planted for literally nobody. Apex is dead. Shox and Kyojin are basically forced to take these horrendous gunfights. Tessus is just, he's loving the free HLTV rating boost.
It looks like they're entering upper.
Yeah. Looks like they haven't taken the bomb site yet, but the bomb's already been planted and it's on the wrong side of the silo. It's just like,
as soon as that bomb goes down, you're no longer a T. You're no longer. It's like as soon as you go into the post plant, the reason the odds switch so much is because you switch to CT. You get to pick all the best spots to get an advantage in every opening duel. Shox sees 3 players going into heaven. He literally could have won that round just by overextending and going for 2 or getting 1.5. Instead, played it even better. And then when he comes back upstairs, the bomb's not planted for him. Kyojin's in the middle of the site, not a single piece of cover. He could have picked anything and wasn't there. And Apex was the only player that needed to be up there and dropped out of heaven. And they all just basically took turns throwing that away.
Well, now we are going to be moving on to Vitality's pick of Overpass. So are you expecting to see a more comfortable Vitality coming into this one?
Yes, I believe.
You don't sound confident at all, dude.
And you put your dollars on this one too.
Yeah.
Are you confident, Lourdes?
I guess I'm not surprised about Nuke, but that doesn't worry me for the rest of the series. We need to see an overperformance. We need to see a better performance than ever from Kyojin, better performance than ever from Masuda. At least a bit better from Masuda. I believe in Zywoo on this map, even though he had his worst map of all time on Overpass. It was one time.
Look, Launders. We just saw them get. Not if they had got eviscerated on Nuke, I would be so on board with you right now. I would be worried about Overpass in a big way. But they kept that scoreline pretty close, considering that's like Heroic's home map. You know, if
It was
you
decent, yeah.
and it seemed like they changed a bunch of spots up. I'm excited to see what they can bring for us on Overpass. And I'm honestly, I know I put basically my life savings betting on Heroic here, but legit, I'm excited to see what Vitality can do here on Overpass.
Is there anybody you're particularly looking at for the Vitality side coming on into their home map?
I mean, I got to think Zywoo is going to open up and spread his wings here, man. Like, this is where he finally is going to have some room. You know, Nuke, Inferno, we talk about these maps as being, you know, it's kind of, you're constricted as an opper. You don't have the room to necessarily go and find picks every round, but you're going to have that here on Overpass, and I think that's going to be something where we get to see Heroic deal with it.
Do you think Heroic can deal with that? Do you think they have the capability to if we see Zero popping off?
Yeah, during like the 2020 period, this is a really one of the most innovative maps for Heroic, where they brought in some new triple nades, for example, that everyone copied over from outside Monster to the boost. They've done tons of stuff with their executes on Overpass, so it is a map that they actually spent a lot of time, I feel like, innovating on, that they didn't always need to play, but when they did, it was winning them a lot of series.
Well, it may be winning them this series indeed in 2 maps. And we're going to be finding out exactly how it's going to be going down as Summer and James are on the mics for map number 2.
Sames.
Oh, yeah. Well, you know, I love to hear that Lex is already betting his child's college tuition.
God damn.
On the game.
I mean, they're points, okay? They're not real.
You're the one who's saying your life savings?
Yeah, well, my unicorn point savings,
You
man.
left him speechless.
I did. It's all right. It happens often. All right, let's get into the thick of things here, James. This is the second map. Heroic Vitality. Heroic, everything went according to plan. They won their map pick. Nuke goes their way. Vitality now looking to fight back.
We've got Raid Boss Tech 9 in connector. I like it. I like to head in here with Tech 9, get those extra bullets over the... Oh, never mind. That didn't last very long at all, did it? The bomb's been dropped, and Zywoo may be dropped as well as double peak comes through. Well, it's a good start from Heroic.
I love that the timing could not have been better.
Patient play from Cadian with a classic USP. I quite like that one. It's understated, which is always nice. Orion in the hands of Apex, and Refresh will deal with him, taking 5 Kevlar damage, so he's got to spend $1,000 if he wants a helmet. Heroic start with the CT pistol. Let's not forget Vitality won both pistols and got reset both times in quite ugly fashion, as alluded to by the desk.
Indeed.
But here we have Heroic starting on the correct foot, and I can't imagine they'll have the kind of mares that we saw Vitality have in the second round. But let's see. We have got a force buy from them, Vitality. So is leaving AWP money in the hole. Nothing untoward there. Apex has picked up a scout. Oh, that's a chunky boy.
Dude. Kyojin already down to half HP. He hasn't even seen anybody yet. He's like, please stop. Wasn't Nuke enough? Why are you doing this to me? Nicely done, though, by Apex. Beautiful headshot on Cadian. Drops him out of the fight immediately. We still have 4 alive here for Heroic, fully equipped. That was just an MP9 lost for Heroic. They still have the rifles online. And you can see Tessa's giving up ground a little bit here. He wants to fight early in restrooms. He wants to at least put up a little bit of pressure out here. Stavin's got his back as well, so they're going to focus on this rather than fighting on the site itself. Refresh is the one who's holding the site to get past him, though, but then what an attempt at a 180.
That leaves Shots the last man with Kevlar. So they get 2 kills in that round, Vitality. And perhaps that is enough. I'm sure they would have liked the bomb plant, especially with how close they got to the site. But on this occasion, they were denied. So Heroic start with the 2-0. They put Vitality into eco territory. Indeed, we will have, we will likely have an AWP for Zywoo in the next round. I'm curious to see what will happen there with it on the T side.
Nice recovery, nice hold. I like the aggression that we're seeing here from Heroic as well on that CT side, setting up shop as far away from the bomb site as possible, getting that early info with Cadian, and then playing off of it. This time they fully expected to be rush, and Team Vitality are not obliging them. How dare they? Just teasing. Instead, it's going to be out long again, which is definitely not something that you would expect to see, considering they are going to run up against rifles. So Vitality gambling on this, going against the usual strategy. Instead, they've gone long, and now they're going to walk right into Cadian, who's going to pick up on the fact that, wait, something is amiss.
Well, that is the meat grinder. 1 kill, it's fair enough. They had 2 deagles out, 1 kill.
Nice, save the run for. Okay.
It's doable. Right then.
Cadian's got enough for the op.
So does Zywoo. And he goes for the AK.
Go for it. Zymo does not go for it.
I was curious to see what the TAWP would look like. Perhaps we'll see it later on. Maybe they have intentions for a faster round. But even then, if you look at like Simple on a B push, for example, he'll go in the tunnel and hold one side of the pillar while this team move on the other side. So
I like this. B, quick B, explosive B from Vitality. Everybody out here, quick into water, set up with the nades, and just YOLO rush it. Let's go.
Oh, there's a warning.
Oh,
3 players outside B. Cadian makes no connection there. Maybe started strafing before he fired, and Vitality will play against what's expected there. Again, 3 HEs, 3 people outside Monster, but they'll rotate back towards A straight away. Many of these angles have a CT shadow advantage, as you can see. I don't know how Zywo gets that kill, all things considered. It should have been free for Heroic there, but they find themselves in a 3 versus 4, which is very interesting. Cadian still alive with the AWP. Still static on the B bomb site. Shush and Cadian. I can see Shush doing some jump peeking to try and get some cheap information. Apex with an occasional peek. Spot refresh in no man's land now, and he's willing to fight to the death, it seems here. Or at least fight to the end of his magazine. Pop flash for him, and down goes refresh. 4 versus 2 now. It becomes worse for Heroic, and they can't stand around anymore. Shush will push through Monster, and maybe this is just picking a place to save, and Shox will surely have some sound cues soon, so seems NP9 may be going as well. Playing for the information, Shox.
How the turntables turn. Cadian getting a freebie. 1v3, bomb's going to get planted. Apex with 4 health is the one who's going to make sure that Cadian can't go for the flank. And Vitality, they managed to squeak through on this one. Apex, I think with the big kill at long there. Managing to stabilize it and get things on track for Vitality. Bit of the gimmick play at the beginning as well with the triple nade. I thought they would just go straight through onto B and just go, you know, all-out aggression on Heroic. Show some fight. But instead, the slow play has worked for Vitality.
Indeed it has. They find their first round. Cadian saving the AWP will be crucial for Heroic. Storn and Shush will have money to buy. Let's see if Apex is able to find him. Sees the head go past, and where does he go?
What, Cadian, Cadian, you mad lad.
That's outrageous. I love it.
Can't believe
it's scary to watch, but he's playing with confidence.
That is a confidence play.
Yeah, and I like that. It's like the same thing with JW on Fnatic when he's playing his best. You know, some of the things he do may be terrifying, scary, outrageous, but if he's playing with confidence, then ultimately that's the most important thing. And there'll be a second AWP collected by Heroic, maybe to make up for the shortcomings in terms of money and utility and so on. Shush with the AUG and no grenades. Stan also a dab hand with the AWP. The fadeaway flashbang from Cadian. We'll see how long he stays here for. Now that is a flick.
The answer, wow, he doesn't even back off.
Right?
That's actually ridiculous. Is it because Staven is holding long? He trusts that Staven... No, but Staven isn't pushed up to restroom. So Cadian just trusting that Vitality were not going to hard swing him immediately. In the meantime, Shush takes out Shoxy at Monster, and Cadian manages to get back.
He believes in the fear, and he's correct. Vitality still haven't even peeked the toilets and so on. There are grenades for these angles, but it seems that Vitality wants to hold on to them. They find themselves now in a 3 versus 500 HP situation. That's going to be an issue for them. Again, the trades are just not going to be favorable.
Shush is close enough to hear all this as well. So the early warning system is in. Cadian has started rotating down to the B site. What is this?
Nice work from Shush. Started shooting before he even turned around there, just getting that gun hot straight away. And indeed, Vitality found themselves very out of position. That flick from Cadian was gorgeous, though. I can appreciate that.
Yeah, and it's so bold, and it really is one of the few options that you have for early aggression with an AWP on this map is to get up there and take that fight. It is, you can say, expected, and yet for him to still hang around and then get the shot, that's such a bold play from Cadian. So cool to see if you're a Cadian fan out there, and I mean, there are many.
I'm a Cadian fan.
Yeah, he's a baller.
He's a good dude. And he's a strong sniper as well. Definitely earned his stripes. I think he's the everyman, the common man sniper.
That flash.
Ooh, That's a kill from Kyojin, but they need a lot more than this. They need an individual performance, some multi-frags. Maybe it has to come from Zywoo as he finds himself now in a 1 versus 3, but Storm will have the superior angle. Yeah, Cadian's like, I feel like the road he's taken is the hardest road. You know, again, you've got someone like Zywoo who's young, natural talent, just his brain for the game is absolutely bananas, but Cadian's taken that road with the most obstacles. So, when I say the common man sniper, because he's like the guy who shows you that you can do it, you know? It's not just the raw talent from day one, but he's the grinder.
What I think is also that he changes, he learns.
Exactly.
And that is actually a big lesson to take away from Cadian's path. It's not been the easiest one, but let's not say that Cadian hasn't been his own obstacle at times either. And yet he has made the changes and he has improved, right? And now he's the in-game leader. So it's really remarkable. He's got a wonderful story. And well, nicely done there by Stavin, at least, you know, getting that info. Doesn't hit the shot, but gets the info, spots out Apex at long. And in the meantime, Vitality, they've got the death ball grouped up in restroom in mid, wanting to challenge these AWPs. But now they know there's a rifle around here, and that may cause them to hesitate for just a little moment here.
Here comes the Swarm, trying to abuse the numbers. TeSeS is awkward for him. He's got some help from Cadian, though, and from Down. Okay, Shocks. All right, then. All okay. 3 more to find. He's got 1 minute to do it as well, putting Cadian in the red. Okay. He's going to get an upgrade as well. Can get to the AWP, maybe. Looking to be served another head. He's got 2 bullets in a Desert Eagle. They're going to try and swing together. The no-scope will be close, but not close enough. Great damage done by Shocks there. Looking like another classic highlight from him. And again, just as we saw on Nuke, it is 3 rounds for Heroic, either side of that one from Vitality.
What a sick round from him, dude. We're going to get it again here. This is TeSeS doing everything right. I mean, he's wholly solid, going for the repeak. But then for Shoxy to hit the leg shot, it was an impossible round for him because both of the players were there. So even if he got the kill with the op, he was a dead man. But still, nice round from Shoxy, making it a bit more expensive. That's one of the AWPs that Heroic was not able to hold on to. But now, you know, they've used the double op. They got a couple rounds out of it. They don't need to force it. Nice flash, though, to force Cadian back. Timing was impeccable. So there will be no opening kill here for Heroic. They fully expected some action on B. 4 players on the B site for Heroic right now, just waiting. In the meantime, Misuda clearing out connector. So slowly but surely, Vitality developing their map presence, and that is prompting TeSeS and Stavin to rotate back up towards the A site. Shush and Refresh, though, going to go for the peak for info here in a second. Minute on the clock, smoke goes down, and Apex is letting them know.
Looks like he's headed off to collect the bomb. There's been no presence in long from Vitality, as we can see. Zywoo starts to wonder, and indeed, there are 3 men on long for Heroic, and with no flashes, no sound cues of any kind, they may head in this direction. Vitality playing the clock real slow, and this may lead to a false sense of security. We can see TeSeS trying to clear these side angles now, but Apex is losing this duel. TeSeS still going to go for it. 30 seconds remain now. They may try to cut off the rotation here, but there is support. Heroic aware of what could be, but Stound's the one going to get caught off, and so is Cadian. TeSeS now has a lot to do. He needs to stay alive to try and stop the bomb plant. Some pre-fire, and things become even more awkward. Shocks flanking. 15 seconds to plant this bomb. Vitality running this clock down. This HE could be a big one. Shush and Refresh now. 2 versus 3. Looking for something. The money's not fantastic for Heroic, even with these 6 rounds in the bag. Credit to Shocks and a Desert Eagle. I think that may pay off in this situation. The AK and the M4 in the hands of Heroic. They've both got the fuse kits. They've got no smokes to try and cover this bomb, so I'm not sure they full commit to this one. Just hiding in plain sight, perhaps. Down goes Shocks, but it's too late to defuse the bomb, so going for the AWP and get out of there.
And you will survive it. Crouched in the corner here. Nicely done. TeSeS, though, man. Okay, Vitality win the round, but what a hero, TeSeS. Re-swinging on Apex like that at long, and then getting another kill as they push onto the site. TeSeS is a mad lad. What a round from him. And so because they saved these 2 guns, it's actually going to be a pretty solid buy coming in here for Heroic on this round. And so it's been 3 rounds for Heroic. There's a bit of a pattern here, Hopefully Vitality, for their sake, can break it. 3 rounds and a win, 3 rounds and a win. So let's see it here. Cadian, though, very quick to long across the way. Really expecting perhaps Apex to be out here yet again.
Aggressive map control taken by Heroic. Short B, presence in long. Toilets is a question mark for them. And that will mean that TSS rotates towards the A bomb site. So there's a timing for Heroic to think about. They know that Vitality could just walk up to the A bomb site, and they seem to have figured something out, Vitality, because they're essentially doing that. Little by little, engaging TSS now, and they look to commit to this one, Vitality, maybe reading the response from Heroic, but TSS again looking for a 3rd kill. He's done enough to allow Stown to rotate in and find that 3rd frag, and there's nothing for Vitality to show to it. We noted his play in the last round, and here he is again, and now it's down to Cadian to hold long. Low play to be had from Shox, and there is the 3rd for TSS. That is quite a shutdown from Heroic. Credits TSS, though, for the individual play.
Oh, man, TSS is such a monster. There he is on your screen right now. Back-to-back monster rounds for this guy. Really stepping up. And this is the beauty of Heroic. This is what makes them such a powerful team right now in the competitive sphere. It's that anybody can just take over. When you look at the stats across the months for this team, they're almost indistinguishable between them. They're so powerful. They each pop off. They each take over maps. And right now, this is TSS just taking the world by storm. Back-to-back monster rounds, and that just resets. Dude, Vitality. I mean, they lose 3 rounds, they win a round.